Today I want to talk to you about 13 of the weirdest rules in the military, why they exist, and what you can do about it. First one here is freedom of speech, which is just not for you once you join the military. Nobody cares about your political opinion. You don't like the president, you don't like Congress, you don't like the Senate, you don't like political officials, you don't like the general, we don't care. Don't bring it up. You are not allowed to talk about any of that crap in uniform. Sure, you can have an opinion, but you just keep it to your freaking self. And honestly, I love this about the military because instead of people on both sides of the political island being extremely divisive and coming at each other about stuff, we just live our life and go to work and don't deal with politics at work. And then you go do whatever the hell you want after hours, and it creates a much better work environment. Just say. Here's an interesting one for you. Witchcraft and tarot cards are actually still illegal in the military. Yes, you can get in trouble for doing witchcraft and or tarot card readings, and this falls under the Article 134, which they call disorders prejudicial to good order. Meaning, this is just kind of a catch-all, but yes, people have apparently been charged for seances and fortune-telling and tarot cards and all this weird gobbledygook while in the military. Another one is fraternization. You are expected to stay within your chain of command, meaning if you're an E5 in the active side and you start dating an officer, that's frowned upon, especially if that officer's in your chain of command. Or if you go too far up the food chain or too far down the food chain, it doesn't look good. So date people around your same rank, or at least nowhere near your same, military installation and or unit, because if you're in the same chain of command, that can get you in trouble 100%. And I have seen this more times than I can count in the military. Now, this one kind of seems like a no-brainer, but apparently it's a rule for a reason. Porn on government computers. No. Just no. Don't be looking at crazy crap on government computers. Yes, I know that seems like a no-brainer, but it's a rule for a reason. Now, rolling your eyes could technically be a punishable defense. Article 89, disrespect towards your superior, could come into play depending on how blatantly you are disrespecting people and in what situation. Now, I would imagine, right? Obviously, you just roll your eyes once. You're not going to jail or doing anything crazy for that. But depending on the circumstances and how far you push it, you absolutely can get hemmed up for disrespecting a superior officer. That could be your tone, that could be sarcasm, that could be just being there's a lot of things that could play into that. The eye roll is just an example. Now, Article 86 could get you in trouble for just sleeping in. This is your appointed place of duty. This is your unauthorized absence. This is UA. This is the one that most people are familiar with. Now, what people think about is going AWOL, just running off from a deployment and missing a deployment movement, which absolutely will get you hemmed up. But people don't generally take this to the extreme to know that if you just sleep in a couple times and you're just late to things habitually, that could get you in trouble for the exact same offense because, again, you're missing your appointed place of duty, especially if it becomes a habit. Now, again, within that catch-all Article 134 is extramarital contact, i.e. adultery. This could get you in trouble for sure. And here's the crazy thing is even if you and your spouse have parted ways, you don't live together anymore, you're separated, whatever, maybe that person refuses to sign divorce papers. If you get caught in an affair because you're still legally married, the military can hem you up on it. Now, that's really, let's be honest, that's probably going to just come down to whether or not your command hates your guts or not. And if they do, then you probably just want to walk on eggshells anyway and dot your Q's or, whatever, dot your I's and cross your T's and all that. But if you get hemmed up sleeping with somebody that you're not married to while you're legally still married, even if you're separated and going through the divorce process, that can get you in trouble. I have seen this. Another interesting one is that your room can be inspected at any time. Now, there are some stipulations for what kind of inspections. If this is going to be a health and comfort, meaning they're throwing all the stuff out of your wall lockers and out of your bags and dumping all your stuff out in your room, then they have to have a commander there. But you can do just normal barracks inspections fairly frequently. And if you've got contraband or illegal things in there, it can get you in trouble. I just saw an article a week ago where a Marine got hemmed up for having an AK-47 or something in his barracks room, which is a no-no. There's an armory for that. And so, he got in trouble. Idiot. Now, you can actually get in trouble for saluting in a no-salute zone. This could be, a cemetery or whatever, but usually this is a combat deployment where you're just not allowed to salute in any spot. You're not going to get in trouble if you salute somebody without your cover on, like I covered in another video, your hat, and you just forget. Somebody's going to be like, hey, knucklehead, that's not going to get you in trouble. Where this could get you in trouble is, let's say you're behind enemy lines or you're in combat or you're just normal, whatever, and you're saluting an officer while, deployed. And that is essentially a big red target signaling to any sniper that's around hey, that guy is important. And so the reason we do not, the same reason that officers wear subdued chevrons, meaning not shiny chevrons, they have matte chevrons while deployed, is the same reason you don't salute while deployed. Because yes, it's signaling, like, put a big target on their back. That person matters. Shoot them. And that's just not cool. So if done intentionally, you will get in trouble for that for sure. Another goofy one is the hands in pockets, which is apparently a war crime. You are just not allowed to have your hands in pockets while walking around in Marine Corps uniform or in most uniforms. It is viewed unprofessional, just like having your boots unbloused, meaning you don't roll the boots up to, keep the bugs out or whatever. Both of those things can get you in trouble. And I should know, because when I was in Afghanistan, when it was like 120 degrees out, we were doing a bridge construction project, and it was so damn hot. We had all unbloused our boots to just get a little bit extra airflow into our legs. In fact, some of us, myself included, weren't even tying our boots at the time. We were just letting it all open, trying to cool off, right? Just trying to breathe, because holy crap, if you've ever been in Afghanistan in July, it sucks. And somehow, some way, a photo of us made it way up into the Marine Corps. And I believe it was the assistant commodore of the Marine Corps at the time who basically called all the way down the food chain and was like, why the are those Marines not blousing their boots? Because it's 120 degrees, sir. We're dying. It sucks. And at the end of the day, we're deployed. Who cares? But you know what? He cared. Not good. So same with the hands in pockets in uniform. Looks unprofessional. Don't get caught doing it. Another one is the goofy ass reflector belt. These yellow and green belts that you're supposed to wear on base when you PT before sunrise and after sunset, so you don't get hit by a car, because God forbid a car hits you when you're not wearing the reflective thing. Not to mention that you could have reflective shoes, reflective hat, reflective whatever. If it's not that belt, you're in the wrong. Oh yeah, if you have sex in the wrong place, that could get you court-martialed. So don't be sleeping around in government vehicles. Don't go jump up in a Humvee to get it on, because if you get caught, no bueno. And this is probably the goofiest one on the list. This is the last one here. This one made me laugh. I did not actually realize that this was a thing, but Santa is banned from Army aircraft. You are not allowed to wear holiday attire on an aircraft, apparently. That is still a rule. Why? No freaking clue, but apparently that's a thing. Oh yeah, not just Santa. Easter Bunny, witches, Tooth Fairy, whatever. None of that crap. Anyway, this is just a goofy video about random things that people may or may not know in the military. The reality is that the Uniform Code of Military Justice, the UCMJ, has a ton of regulations. 99% of them, 95% of them make sense. They're logical. They're good. They're to uphold good order and discipline within the military, and they serve a purpose. Some of them are just archaic. Right? Another weird one is that sodomy can get you in trouble. Now you're like, oh yeah, sodomy. Who wants that? And if you don't know what sodomy is, you're probably too young for me to explain it. So no offense, but we're not digging into that right here. But that means even consensual sodomy. Even if that's just something you guys are into. If somehow, some way you got caught, you could technically get in trouble now I don't know anyone who's ever gotten in trouble for that, because most people aren't walking around talking about it. Most people aren't getting caught in that act. And if they are, most people aren't going to be like, oh, well, you guys are consensual, we're going to punish you anyway. But technically, per the book, that's a thing. So who knows? There are some weird ones in there. So comment down below, what do you think is the weirdest rule in the UCMJ, or just that you ever heard of in the military? I bet there's some crazier ones than even this.